The Nigerian Naira extended its slump in the black market trading as the nation's dollar shortage worsened. This is coming about 2 months after the central bank moved to a more flexible exchange rate to encourage inflows. The Naira traded at 955 Naira to a US dollar on Thursday, according to data captured from AbokiFX, an online application platform that provides daily updates and information on the parallel market. This has caused panic and worry among Nigerians, while some wonder if there will ever be a convergence of rates. Others are worried that this could further deepen the cost of living crisis being experienced by many. News Centre's Perpetua Fasanmi-Peter examines the situation and filed in this report.
With the harmonization of Nigeria's exchange rate, economists and financial market analysts have praised the initiative, saying this will lead to a convergence between the official or I&U window and even the parallel market. While that seemed to be the case in the first few days after the Central Bank of Nigeria floated the Naira, the gap between both rates have now widened to over 150 Naira. This has been attributed to so many factors, including the shortage of US dollars.
43 to 45 items were banned by the CBN from sourcing dollars through the bank. Those items, we don't have them. And most of the traders, they want to import them into this country. Since you cannot source the dollar through the bank, the only legitimate way to get this dollar is through the parallel market. And that would increase the gap between the bank rate and the parallel market. The other issue is our attitude. An average Nigerian doesn't want to comply with the recommendations. If you are to apply your dollars through the bank, you have to present all the necessary documentation, including your tax clearance. And trust Nigeria. Most of them, they don't want to do that.
With Naira exchanging at over 900 Naira to the dollar, the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers and IPMAN have announced imminent hike in the prices of cooking gas and petrol. How are Nigerians taking this? Let's find out.
Right from when dollars was 600 and something, I said we are going 1,000. Just like I said fuel, we are going 1,000. And you can see what is happening. From Monday night to be 7 something. And so we are still going to approach 1,000. That's to tell you how messed up this country is. Nobody has the interest of the masses.
For me as a person, is quite hurtful, it's quite heartbroken. And when we look around the country and we look around look around the people, we discover that people are helpless.
Although the Central Bank of Nigeria once intervened by telling IOCs to sell forex to banks, analysts have said that may not be enough to address the backlog of demands.
The best bet is to go and borrow. Meet up the immediate shortfall. What we can do is very straightforward. It starts from the government, encourage local content, and try to demonstrate we are Nigerians. My advice is the government should look inward and try to promote export rather than import. The more we can export many things, the better. And Nigerians should not rely on the crude oil alone. We have so many benefits that we can derive from the mining, from the agriculture, and what have you. So we can export this.
The CBN floated the currency to reduce the gap between the official importers and exporters window and the parallel market rate. However, with the shortage of supply of the greenback, this has made the task almost impossible. While some have wondered if the CBN will go back to a more controlled regime, many analysts remain optimistic that the government will do all it can to address the shortage of dollars in the market. Perpetua Fasanmi-Peter reporting for News Central.
Joining us on the news to bring this conversation back home is a financial expert, Akin Fatunke. Thank you very much for joining us. But please let me start by apologizing profusely for keeping you waiting for such a little while or a long while. Thank you for your patience. We appreciate it. The Naira has been allowed to float freely, but its value is depreciating, making Nigerian goods and services relatively cheaper for international buyers. In your opinion, have they, the investors, taken the bait?
The investors have not taken the bait simply because we have not holistically addressed the reasons behind the surge in demand and how to control them, and the shortage, or what you call supply, of the Naira. President, the truth of the matter is that de facto, we are not moving in the direction that we should be moving, either because we haven't really thought through quite a number of things, and we thought we would just decide to leave things to market forces. And thankfully, the president came in his last address to say, where necessary, we are going to try and make some inputs. Now, while I was waiting for this to come on, I saw quite a number of very interesting issues that you brought in there. Isaiah Buddha of Bauchi State was talking about the fact that have we really tackled the issue of corruption? Have we really tackled issues surrounding the fact that we're not putting square pegs in square holes? I just say no. But the jury on paper, the World Bank, the World Trade Center, African Development Bank, everybody's been saying that is the direction to go. But it seems as if we have just not been prepared. So what are the investors looking at? They are looking at the body language of what is coming out of our quote and unquote leaders who are rulers. Are they leading from the head? Are we getting divergent voices from the legislature, the judiciary, and what have you? And cautiously, they are waiting to see what the judiciary will come up with to legitimize or otherwise the incumbent president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So on one hand, they are happy to see it. On another hand, they are asking themselves these critical questions. Are you sure this country will be able to abide and abound by the policies that they have stated? But they are also seeing the fact that the demand, and if you ask me, the demand is such that if you look at the three components of the basic thing that take our demand, which is still consumption, will be import of motor cars, is issue of educational sending and the Jackpot syndrome that is going on. And you will not believe this, our men and women, so don't let me put it to women alone, with all the ashwabi and all the kind of things that they buy that are not imported in here, have we critically asked the questions? If this is taking over 70% of the demand for dollars, what should we really be looking at taking care of and make sure that not only is it that you are taking care of that, and then you begin to obviate them.
Okay, you've identified some of the issues here, but what are those things you think people can do, that identify for people themselves, they can do to at least keep the crash in the Naira to manageable proportions?
It has to come from the head. We are not seeing the kind of example that we should see for us to trust and abide. Delayed gratification is very, very important for us to have the patience to say, okay, in a few months' time, we believe certain things are going to happen, but we are not seeing that. The cost of governance is still excessively high. Some people are still smiling when they say they are leaders, when a lot of the hoi polloi are crying. We are not seeing all those kind of things. So it has to start from the head. Now, insecurity is another thing that we are not, I will not be able to say, yes, we are making some moves, but insecurity is still very rife. See what's happening in the plateau. See what's happening at Ileoluji in Ondo State. Look at the issue of kidnapping. People jumping into the lagoons and stuff like that because the faith in the system is not there. So what I would therefore say to people, let's get set to tighten more of our seatbelt, but making sure that those who are ruling us will hold them to account.
Okay.
Labour has come with some issues surrounding certain things should happen, certain things should not happen. We should get our refineries working out, what have you, minimum wage.
I think the key word there is tightening our seatbelt and hold our leaders accountable so they don't tell us to do one thing and they are doing another. But let me just ask you this one quickly before we let you go. Petrol is selling at about 600 Naira per litre. In some places it has gone more than that. It is quite likely that another hike is imminent with the recent fall in the value of the Naira. What are the short, medium and long-term remedies that will protect the people from the harsh consequences of the exchange rate fluctuation?
Felicity, low hangers. Low hangers. One of the low hangers is to lead by example. We cannot rightly be saying that some people will be suffering down the line, and those who are ruling us are not feeling the pinch, they are not cutting. So we need to do that. We need to also begin to hold them to account that there has to be leaner and leaner government. Some of the things that we are seeing now is just not, it's not making us as happy as we should. Finally, I would like to say, you and I, Felicity, we should go back to multitask ourselves, do a little bit of gardening, do a little bit of farming, do a little bit of, doing a lot of exercises to keep our sanity, guiding ourselves into a community and begin to educate, our children, our wards, and then make sure that that exemplary leadership should come from you. Say, for instance, for me, where I live, I am conscious of the fact that I have a car, some people don't have cars. I will gather ourselves together and then hike rights so that we can find a way to try and
cut
reduce
down on costs. All right, Mr. Akin Fatunke, I think you've given us some ideas here. I know the time is brief, but you've maximized it well. Thank you very much for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you very much, Felicity. Thank you.